Okay, Frank, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
I understand you grew up in New Jersey.
I did.
What's it like to grow up there? How's the music scene?
I gotta say, the music scene is flourishing. It's great. It was when I was a kid, and it still is. You know, more so though. I guess when I was a kid, there was very genre specific. You know what I mean? There was a big hardcore scene, a big punk rock scene, and now though I feel like it's very spread out. Like lots of different types of bands. There's like there's like country. There's like lots of just rock and roll. There's country. There's hardcore. There's punk rock. There's no defining lines. You know, as opposed to when I was a kid, I remember there being very definite lines like, no, you're a metal band, you're a punk rock band, you're a hardcore band, and you can never cross over those. And now, though, I feel like the barriers have been broken down, which is really nice.
How would you describe your music?
I don't know. You know, I wouldn't probably. I've said in the past, I feel like it takes about 2.5 minutes to listen to a song, right? And if you want to know bad enough, you should listen.
Okay, we will.
Right?
We will.
Yeah, but I guess at the heart of it, it's all rock and roll, right?
Right.
So
when you were playing with my Cam, you were the guitarist. So you started this band 2 years ago or 3 years ago?
This band?
Yeah.
We started I put the band together last summer. So.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
not
fairly
even
new. Yeah,
okay.
The record came out in August, and I knew that the record was coming out in maybe June.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like, I started to put a band. I've always been in bands where I was, either a guitar player or something like that. Sometimes I've been up front, but I never really enjoyed it. I always liked kind of being set back a little bit. I don't like being the center of attention.
Yeah, you look a bit introvert.
Yeah,
You definitely have a strong opinion about things. Yeah, when you first started this band, how hard was it for you to get your first gigs?
Well, it wasn't really. We played, our first show was a show that we played with some friends. We did it as like just kind of like an unannounced thing just to see what it would be like. And it was in New York City at Bowery Electric, and it was really fun. And then 2 weeks after that, we went on tour with Taking Back Sunday and Used, and it was just kind of we've just been playing with friends, which is great.
Yeah, now we're in Europe.
Now we're in Europe. Yeah, I know. It's strange, to write a record in your basement, record it there, and not expect to put it out, and then less than a year later be playing it around the world is it's pretty amazing. It's a bit of a miracle.
Yeah.
I'm having a great time. That's great. So I'm very thankful.
Yeah. So what about your family? Because you're touring quite a lot now, and you probably miss your wife, your kids, things like that. How do you cope with that?
I fill my days as much as I can. I feel like in order to justify being away for so long, that I need to be working 24/7.
To make it work.
Yeah, just to make it worth it, to justify in my own head, like, oh well, the time being spent, is for them and for the task at hand.
Okay.
I don't like much downtime. Downtime makes it harder.
Yeah.
But it's something that I've been in band since I was 11 years old. I've toured since I was 17. I don't know how to do anything else.
Okay. Well, have you ever seen The Other F Word? The film?
Yes, I have, yeah.
So, Jim from Pennywise, he's leaving his band to spend time with his family.
Yeah. Jim also went back.
Okay, so how do you relate to that? Yeah.
He did. I wonder It's one of those things, right, where I tried really hard. I thought I could keep my creative side and my real life side fully separate. You know, I thought that's probably the best way to do it. You know, real life and then you know, touring and fake life. And then I came to realize when I had kids that they're so much more interconnected than I ever thought. In order to be the father and husband and the man and person that I would want to be, I've realized that my creative side needs to be satiated. I need to be creating. I need to be happy with that aspect of my life. Otherwise, I'm just miserable all around.
Okay.
You know? And so I've tried very hard to juggle that time and to make it all work. I haven't figured it out yet. But I'm still trying. I'm trying really hard. But you know, when you create things for a living, when you tour, and you know, that's what I do. I come up with things, I make things. You know, it's unlike anything else in the world. You know, say if you want to be a lawyer, you go to school, you go to college. You know, you study really hard to get to law school. You pass that bar exam, and unless you do something really, really messed up, you will forever be a lawyer. No one can ever take that away from you. If you want to be in a band, you want to start a band, you can tour for 20, 30 years in a band, play small clubs, totally eat shit, you know, just write as many songs as you can, and it doesn't mean you're going to be a musician. You'll play, but it doesn't mean you'll get to the level that you want to get to.
Especially with creative things, you have to have something that stands out. You have to get yourself noticed, and that's hard. That's a hard thing to do.
It's hard, and even if you make it to here, it doesn't mean you'll always be there. You know, so it's a heart-wrenching and way to spend your life. You know, but it's also the most amazing thing in the world when you get it right.
Yeah.
You know? So you're constantly chasing that.
Yeah, and you can definitely be proud of that, what you have achieved.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You know, you have to allow yourself to be a little bit proud. You know, that's the hard part, right? It's like that thin line between pride and being boastful and being an asshole. You know? But in order to create, you have to be a little bit proud. Otherwise, you would never share it with anyone.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, back to Jim and Pennywise, he got a lot of negativity when he left the band. People think they can judge him in whatever he do. Have you ever been in such a situation where you've been judged?
I think we all have, right? I think, especially in say the line of work that we do, especially these days, where people can see a brief moment in time, and they believe that defines you, and that they know exactly who you are and who you should be forever. And that could be a song that you wrote, could be a record, could be a video, could be a live show, could be anything. And because they've seen that on the internet, they've read about it in a magazine, that's who you are. If you're not that person in their head, then they get very upset by that. You know?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of envy and jealousy maybe.
I think it's people don't consider other people as human beings. It's just you're just a caricature that they've seen or they have in their head. You know?
Yeah.
You're not human. You're not like a person like them. You know, if someone said that kind of stuff to them, it would be, how could you possibly say that to me? You know, and but they think nothing of going on the internet and saying horrible, hurtful things about your family or people that you care about, because you're not a person. You're just a guy in a band or an actor or whatever.
Do you think the internet makes things worse when it comes to bullying and things like that?
I think the anonymity does, where people feel like there's no consequence.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing in traffic. You know, you'll tell somebody to go fuck themselves 8 times a day. If they're in another car, you wouldn't say it to them on the street. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not just glass; it's millions of miles of cable between the two. So of course, you're gonna go off and say whatever you want to say. But I think I think it comes from one, being self-centered, and to being young. I think the younger people are the ones that tend to be the most venomous with that kind of stuff. They just don't know any better. When I was 13, I knew everything there was to know in the world. And then I turned 25 and I went crazy, and then I turned 30 and I realized I didn't know anything. You know, it's something that happens when you realize.
There is a difference in behaving like that as a child or as an adult. Someone just told me having those experiences creates empathy. Do you agree?
Possibly to a fault. You know, I think being an artist, being someone that makes things and takes their inspiration from just living in life and experiencing moments, you become a lightning rod for other people's emotions, and you can take those emotions on, sometimes so much so that it makes you crack, you know. It's one thing to be empathetic. It's another thing to take all that pain and all those experiences on and try to fix the world, or try to make sense of it all. You have to kind of take a step back.
Yeah, take a distance and try to overcome it. What are the important things you would like to teach your kids?
Oh man, to believe in themselves, to have self-respect. I want them to unapologetically just be themselves, as hard as that sounds. My favorite things about like my kids and watching them grow up is that brief period of time where you see this innate weirdness that only comes from them. Like, they haven't gone to school yet, they haven't they haven't really watched too many cartoons or TV. You see this thing like come from, it's purely them. Yeah, it's so honest and it's so weird and it's so unique to them. And if you were to blink, you would miss it. That's the greatest thing in the world. If I could teach them anything, it'd be to never lose that. I don't know if that's possible.
Okay, that's cool. Thank you for this little chat, and I really appreciate you doing this, and hopefully maybe someday we can do this again.
I hope so.
Thank you.
Pleasure.